examples that we're going to see later, and just on a very small scale, I want to show us if we see something like 5 times 2 to the third power. This is almost more just an order of operations problem, but I really want to focus on the parts of this term. The 5, because we're multiplying it in front, is my coefficient. The 2 is my base raised to the third power. The 3 is my exponent. If I want to expand this out, remember 2 to the third power with a base of 2, the exponent means take that base of 2 times itself 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2. I got 3 of them. Multiplying the base times itself 3 times. Remember that with that 5 in front, the 5 called my coefficient just means multiply this times 5. If I wanted to go and with some of the examples too, you'll see me also expand on different orders in which we can multiply these. If we want to look at that 2 to the third power, 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, times 5 is 40. Another way we could look at this, 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 20 times 2 is that same 40. Now again, that's just a different way of multiplying those, and that's just the what's called the associative property, different ways of where we can group numbers, and we'll talk about those properties. You don't need to know their names. But I want to compare this to our next example. If we see that 5 times 2 in parentheses, those parentheses, that attention to detail, and when we see this in Math Excel, some of the questions I get are, come on, I just forgot the parentheses. That can't mean that much. Let's see what the difference between not having parentheses and having parentheses is going to mean. When I see that exponent now, because of those parentheses, that groups and looks at that entire 5 times 2 now is my base. Everything inside the parentheses, and we'll see polynomials, binomials, we'll see many different types of bases. That 5 is no longer the coefficient like it is being multiplied in front over here. If I have a base of 5 times 2 as a group, what that means is my base, 5 times 2, times itself 3 times. 5 times 2 times 5 times 2. Remember repeated multiplication. That exponent means take my base times itself 3 times. Well, when we look at this individually, 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. Well, let's look at the difference. 10 times 10 is 100. Times 10 is 1,000. What this means is having the difference of having parentheses versus not having parentheses means the difference of having $1,000 versus having $40. So much that attention to details, what so much of this first unit is going to be, is really focusing on, and that's where it's important to get used to those definitions, those different parts of a term. Another example that I want to show us before we get too far into this, 3 to the 4th power. We're going to get so into routines with these that when we see 3 to the 4th power, I know how impulsive it is to want to say, oh yeah, 12, and move on. Remember that this does not mean a base times a power. What this means is a base of 3 to the power of 4 means that base, 3, times itself 4 times. 4 of those 3's that I'm multiplying by each other. Well, look what we got here. 3 times 3, 9. Times 3 is 27. 3 times 27, if we want to look at this, 3 times 20. If I have 3 $20 bills, that's $60. 3 times 7, 21. If I have 60 and 21, 81. That's again what's called the distributive property. I want to show that again real quick because you'll see me use it throughout the term. 3 times 20 is 60. 3 times 7 is 21. 21 plus 60 was 81. Again, we'll try and do a lot of that math mentally. You'll find out that sometimes using a calculator can almost even make things worse. Another way that I want to look at this, if I took that 3 times 3, that would be a 9. If I took this 3 times 3, that would be a 9. Well, if I had a 9 times 9, that would be that same 81. That's what's called, again, the associative property. We're grouping some numbers together. You'll see me use some of these properties. I'm not concerned with the names, but I do want to show us that we will see some of these properties later.